Point slope form.
Perfect. We learned about equations of a line. So we have two equations. One of them is point slope form. Interruption. So we learned about point slope form. My pencil's not working. Awesome. Okay. So point slope form, and what was the other form of our equation of a line?
Slope intercept.
Slope intercept. So if you didn't watch the video yesterday, make sure you go back and watch the video. So today we're continuing to learn about equations of a line, but now we're dealing with lines that are parallel and lines that are perpendicular. So lines that are parallel have the same slope. So if we look here at our two equations of the lines, we have a slope of 2 and a slope of 2. So parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines, if we look here, one of our equations has a slope of 3. The other one has a slope of -1/3. Our slopes for perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. Opposite meaning they change the sign. So if it's positive, we go to negative. If it's negative, we change it to positive. And reciprocal means that we flip it. So here we have 3/1, a positive 3/1. So we change our slope to now -1/3. So we change the sign and flip it. So let's go to some examples. So we need to write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 5, -6 and is perpendicular to the line with equation y is equal to -3/2 x plus 7. So all we do with this equation that it gives us is just look at the slope. We're going to ignore everything else that it gives us. So all we're doing is focusing on the slope. It tells us that our new line is perpendicular to this one. So that means we have the slope as an opposite reciprocal. So our new slope is going to be what? Positive 2/3. Perfect. So our new slope is 2/3, and it goes through this point here, 5, -6. So we're given a point and slope. So we're going to plug it into point slope form. So our point slope form is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. And our point here is our x1 and y1. And then our slope is here. So now we just plug all three things in. We plug in our x1, our y1, and our slope. So this is y minus -6. So what would minus a negative number turn into? Y minus -6, what does this change to?
Positive.
Plus. So y plus 6 is equal to 2/3 times x minus 5. So this is our equation in point slope form, but our question asks us to put it into slope-intercept form. So we need to get our equation into slope-intercept form, which is y is equal to mx plus b. So in our equation, we need it to be y is equal to mx plus b. So how do we get our equation here into slope-intercept form? What do we do? Before we subtract the 6, what else can we do? Distribute. So we're distributing into our parentheses. So we have 2 over 3 times x and 2 over 3 times negative 5. So this is 2 over 3x minus 2 over 3 times negative 5. I'm going to do that on the side here. So we have 2 over 3 times negative 5 over 1. When multiplying fractions, we just multiply the tops together and the bottoms together. So this is negative 10 over 3. So 10 over 3. And this is equal to y plus 6. So now we need to do one last thing to solve this. Ilka, what do we do? Subtract the 6. Perfect. So now we have y is equal to 2/3 x. And then we need to subtract negative 10 over 3 minus 6. So we need to combine these two terms. So now I'm going to do it on the side again. I have negative 10 over 3 minus 6. How do I subtract or add fractions? We have to have our denominators the same. So how do I get 6 over 1 to have the same denominator as 10 over 3? Multiply the top and the bottom by 3. So we have negative 10 over 3 minus 18 over 3. And now we just combine our numerators. So negative 10 minus 18 is what? Negative 10 minus 18. So since they're both negative, we add them together and keep the sign as negative. So negative 28 over 3. So going back to our equation, we have y is equal to 2 over 3x minus 28 over 3. So this is our answer in slope-intercept form. So the hardest thing about this is if there's fractions, when we have to multiply the fractions and then add and subtract the fractions. So that's really the most challenging part. Everything else is just plugging in and rearranging our equation. Let's look at our next example. We're doing the same thing. We need to write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 3, 7 and is parallel to the line with the equation y is equal to 3/4 x minus 5. So with the equation that it gives us, we are only looking at the slope. We can ignore everything else. What is our slope of our new equation?
Negative 4 over 3.
So remember, this says that the two lines are parallel. What do we know about parallel lines?
Oh, it's the same.
Parallel lines have the same slope, so our slope stays the same. So our slope is 3 over 4. So now we take our slope and we take our point and plug it into point slope form. So we have y minus y1 is equal to our slope, so 3 over 4 times x minus x1. Now, how do we get this equation to slope-intercept form? What do we do first?
Distribute the 3/4.
Distribute the 3/4. Okay, so 3/4 times x is 3/4 x, and then 3/4 times 3. We have 3/4 times 3 over 1 Okay. We multiply the tops together and we multiply the bottoms together. So this is 9 over 4. So we would have minus 9 over 4. Everybody with me so far? Okay, and this is equal to y minus 7. Now we have one last step to do to get our equation into slope-intercept form. What do we do? Add the 7 to both sides. So plus 7 and plus 7. So y is equal to 3/4 x. And now on the side we need to do negative 9 over 4 plus 7. So I'm doing these two here. How do we add these two fractions together? What do we need to
Put
do
it
to,
over 1.
what do we do next to combine these two fractions? How do we add fractions together? What do we need?
The same denominator?
Same denominator. How do we get our denominators to be the same?
Multiply by 4.
Multiply the top and the bottom by 4. So now this is negative 9 over 4 plus 7 times 4 is 28 over 4. So our denominator stays the same, and we just combine our numerators. So we have negative 9 plus 28. What would that be?
$19.
19. So now we plug in our plus 19 over 4. So our equation here is y is equal to 3/4 x plus 19 over 4. All right, let's look at the next one. So we're doing the same thing. We need to write our equation in slope-intercept form again. What is our slope of our new equation going to be?
Positive 3 over 5.
Perfect. All we do is look at this slope. So we're looking at our slope here. We can ignore everything else in our equation. It says perpendicular, so that means we need the opposite reciprocal. So we change the sign and flip it. So we make it positive and 3 over 5. Now what do we do? What do we do next? Awesome. We put it in, well, first we need to put it in point slope form because we were only given the point and the slope. So our point slope form is y minus y1 is equal to m my iPad is not working today. Okay. M times x minus x1. So what's our y1? Negative 3. So minus a negative 3 would become plus 3. Our slope is 3 over 5. What's our x1?
-9.
Negative 9. So this minus a negative becomes a plus 9. Now how do we get it into slope-intercept form?
Distribute the 3/5 into the x of 9.
Perfect. Distribute the 3/5. So we have 3/5 x plus, here we have 9 times 3/5. So we multiply our tops together and multiply the bottoms together. So this is 27 over 5. And it's equal to y plus 3. Now how do we get our y all by itself? What's the last step we need to do?
Add the plus 3.
So if we're adding 3 on the left side, how do we get rid of it and move it to the other side?
Subtract it.
Subtract 3. So we have y is equal to 3/5 x. And then we have to combine our like terms here. So 27 over 5 minus 3. How do we subtract our fractions here?
Make the denominator the same.
Make the denominator the same. So how do we make our denominator the same?
Multiply by 5.
Multiply the top and the bottom by 5. So we have 27 over 5 minus 15 over 5. Now 27 minus 15 is what? over 5. So our final answer is y is equal to 3 over 5x plus 12 over 5. All right, we have one last example. You guys ready for the last one? All right, so we need to write an equation of a line that passes through 4, -10, and is parallel to y is equal to 7 over 8x minus 3. So what is our slope of our new equation?
It's the same.
It's the same. So 7 over 8. We can ignore everything else. We don't need it. So our slope is 7 over 8. Now what do we do?
Put it in point slope.
Put it in point slope. So our point slope formula is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. What's our y1?
-10.
-10, so this becomes a plus 10. Our slope is 7 over 8. And we multiply x minus, what's our x1?
4.
4. So now what do we do to solve?
Distribute 7 over 8.
Distribute. So 7 over 8 times x is 7 over 8x. And then we have to do 7 over 8 times -4. So 7 over 8 times -4 over 1. We multiply the tops together and multiply the bottoms together. So this is -28 over 8. Can we simplify this? What does it simplify to?
Wouldn't it be -7 over 2?
So, perfect. A 4 goes into both of them, so it would be -7 over 2. Awesome. So we just divide the top by 4 and divide the bottom by 4. So this is -7 over 2. This is equal to y plus 10. Now, how do we get our y all by itself?
Subtract 10.
Subtract 10 on both sides. So y is equal to 7 over 8x. And then we need to combine our like terms here. So we have -7 over 2 minus 10 over 1. How do we subtract fractions? What do we need? The denominator needs to be the same. So what do we have to do to our fraction to get our denominator to be the same?
Multiply.
Multiply the top and the bottom by 2. So this is negative 7 over 2 minus 20 over 2. Now we keep our denominator the same, and we just combine our numerators. So what is negative 7 minus 20? Negative 27. So we just put our minus 27 over 2. So y is equal to 7 over 8x minus 27 over 2. In this equation, what is our slope?
7 over 8.
Our slope is 7 over 8. What is our y-intercept? What's our y-intercept?
-7 over 2.
Negative 27 over 2. So this is what we went over yesterday. This equation's in slope-intercept form, so we have our slope and then our y-intercept. Now b in our equation is our y-intercept. All right, so this is all for the notes for today.